This is Resonance FM 104.4 FM. I'm Nick Hennegan. How are you doing? Welcome to another slice of Literary London. And of course, we're also available on bohemianbritain.com. If that's my new email, yeah, nick@bohemianbritain.com. Oh, Nick, N-I-C-K. So do get in touch, about anything really. And I've got a kind of as what often happens, we're not actually talking much about London this time. No, we're not, because it's that time of the year when we're all preparing ourselves, or at least I am, and many millions of people are actually around the world, for the next Edinburgh Fringe. The Edinburgh Fringe, of course, or the Edinburgh Festival, is a number of festivals that happen in Edinburgh every August, as I'm sure you're aware. And I've been up there on and off since 1992, and I've mentioned before I'm doing a thing called the first 30th anniversary London Edinburgh Literary Pub Crawl. It's a snappy title, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't give it that much thought, really. But the London Literary Pub Crawl, which I wrote, 2012, is still going, and I used to do it all myself. Actually, for a while. I actually wrote it as a performance for Charles Dickens and Virginia Woolf. And I was talking to someone the other week, and I think I might do that again. And then it morphed into a sort of a one-person show, and at the moment it's kind of more of a tour than I would like, although Richard, the guy that's doing it, is very good and very popular, and as he says, he's put the pub crawl back into literary pub crawl. But I thought it would be interesting, for reasons I won't bore you with here, to try it in Edinburgh. In that, of course, I suppose there are 3 cities in the world that I love. Actually, probably 4. Is Aberystwyth a city? Is it? Because I love Aberystwyth. Aberdyfi, I love that as well. It's in Wales, by the way. No, Aberdyfi is definitely not a city. But the other 3 cities I really love in the world. I quite like New York, actually. And Paris, but I've been there for ages. Barcelona, that's quite good, isn't it? Anyway, the 3 cities that I really love, apart from all the others, Adelaide was nice. I'm umming and ahhing about the Adelaide Festival next year. Of course, as always, it will be down to dosh. But we're talking about perhaps taking The Birth of Frankenstein, our sellout show from the Edinburgh Fringe last year, to Adelaide. Or I wonder if Adelaide's ready for a literary pub crawl. Anyway, I'll think on that. But for now, we are doing the Edinburgh Literary Pub Crawl, and I'm going to perform it myself, which is slightly ironic in that, is it ironic? It's not really ironic, but the very first show I did, which I've mentioned before perhaps on this show, was a version of Shakespeare's Henry V, called Henry V, Lion of England, and I was going to perform it myself, because I was working on the radio at the time, which I figured was a younger man's job. Little did I realise. And then I thought, well, I'll go out and perform. Why not? Give it a go. I'd been on stage as a little kid with the Birmingham County Scouts gang show at the Hippodrome, which is a massive theatre, 2,000-seater theatre. And all these little scouts, of which I was one, came on and performed. And I wasn't really struck with performing, but I thought it'd be worth doing. And then I invited a mate of mine, Rob Vomit, we called him. I think I've mentioned this before. Rob Vomit, Rob Stanson's his professional name. Rob Vomit, because the first time I met him, he invited me to a house party. Hall Green Little Theatre is kind of a amateur dramatics theatre, but it's a complete theatre, and they've got their own studio, and it's a marvellous facility. And there are many of these facilities around the country, obviously. But this was one I knew, and Rob had invited me to a house party. And he'd obviously had quite a bit to drink, because I knocked on the door, and he opened it, and he went, "Hello, Nick." You can guess the rest, so hence Rob Vomit. And he came to help me with the script, and it was so obvious that he was a better performer than I was. He did it. He performed it for me, for us, at the Midlands Arts Centre. It got picked up, really one of those kind of crazy things that I think I've mentioned before as well. I thought everyone was running to the door, and it was a standing ovation. We're in the tiny little Hexagon Theatre at the Midlands Arts Centre at the Mac in Birmingham, Callan Hill Park. And afterwards, it just so happened that Jasper Carrott's managements were there. Jasper Carrott, the comedian, and they said, "We'd like to take you to the Edinburgh Festival." And I went, "What's that?" Anyway, we went up in 1992, and it was rather good. And Henry V, fortunately, isn't it funny to think in 1992, theatre shows did not have stars. There were no star ratings for theatre shows in 92. But we used to get a lot of theatrical tour de force reviews. And since then, it's got 5-star reviews, so I'm allowed to say that now. And it did quite well. And I've been going on and off ever since, but never as a performer. As I say, it's because I'm not particularly brilliant at it, and I prefer sort of directing and producing and writing. But this time, I'm doing it all. Oh, yes. So I've actually also mentioned, I've just realised today that we've actually sold over nearly 200 tickets, which is brilliant. And even more brilliant because the people that I'm going to see Audiences are gorgeous. I mean, you know, if you're putting plays on or any sort of performance, music, whatever it be, play reading or whatever it be, audiences are crucial, I always think. And of course, even in television where you can't see or feel the audience, the reviews are very important and audience feedback, etc. So audiences are very important, but it's very unusual to actually go out for a drink with them. And that's what's going to happen in Edinburgh. So there's 200 people I'm going to meet in August. Don't know who they are or where they come from. And as I say, there's another few weeks to go before the festival starts. Of course, I'll have finished the script by then. Hey, of course I will. Although if you are in Edinburgh or if you know Edinburgh and you've got any favourite literary pubs or stories, please do get in touch. You know that email address, nick@bohemianbritain.com. Nick at bohemianbritain.com. Do I sound desperate? No, I'm not desperate. Or, of course, you can use the old one, radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. So it's been an interesting period of time. And the reason I wrote the London Literary Pub Crawl was that a mate of mine, Andy, all right, And, when I finally got to university at the age of 50, he said, look, if you want to go for a cheap pint in town, go to the Fitzroy Tavern, which is in Fitzrovia, just north of Oxford Street. So I did. I went to the Fitzroy Tavern, and in those days, yeah, I'll say that now because I'm feeling really old, there was a bar downstairs, and it was called the Writers and Artists Bar. It's now the toilets. Yeah, possibly more appropriate. No, not at all. But anyway, I went down there, and I saw all these photographs of these incredible writers on the wall, and I thought, blimey, if they all came here, there must be some stories to tell. So I think had I been a local, I probably wouldn't really have taken much notice, but with my kind of Brummy tourist head on, I did take notice and wrote this script. As I say, we did it for the Olympics, although we were a bit late for that. You know, writers and deadlines. I mean, I asked them, but they wouldn't put the Olympics back. Anyway, we did it as a one-off. And of course, because of the power of the interweb, people kept booking and have been booking ever since, fortunately, apart from during lockdown. So that was kind of what got me going. And then literally sort of from a conversation I had a couple of years ago, and the fact I got a play lined up to do this year, but the script was in a fairly poor state. And it just suddenly, out of nowhere, I thought, well, let's give it a go. Let's try and do the Edinburgh London Literary Pub Crawl. So, and it's slightly provocative calling it the Edinburgh London Literary Pub Crawl, partly because there are some brilliant pub crawls already in Edinburgh. If you're ever in Edinburgh outside of the festival, go and have a look. Well, in fact, they're running during the festival as well, but obviously they're my competition, so I'm not mentioning them. I am joking. Of course, there are some brilliant pub crawls. So I thought, and the London is slightly tongue-in-cheek, it's London crossed out, Edinburgh, London Literary Pub Crawl. And we start slap bang in the centre of town. Potter Row is it the Usher Hall? I don't know why I keep getting that name wrong. I should know it. I've been there enough times. But we're slap bang. We're going to start there, and then we're going to end up. Shall I tell you where we're going to end up? Shall I give it away? All right. We're going to end up at the Oxford Bar. And the Oxford Bar, you will know if you've ever read or seen the television show Rebus. D.I. Rebus, Detective Inspector Rebus, because that's his regular hangout. It's also the regular hangout of the writer, the very lovely Sir Ian Rankin. He's a sir, yeah. Who's also been very kind to me, actually, and he's helped me out with a few ideas and suggestions. So that's where we're going to end up, and I've got a few locations sorted out. But if you have got any literary tales of Edinburgh or Scotland, then do please get in touch and let me know, and we'll have a chat, or I'll just credit you. Likewise, of course, if you've got anything that you've written yourself and you'd like some publicity for it, then do get in touch. And uniquely, I think, for this pub crawl in Edinburgh, the London the 30th anniversary one of the first 30th anniversary. You know what I'm trying to say, do you? I'm not sure I know what I'm trying to say myself. But what we are also going to do is we've got some slots for new writers, or at least emerging writers, or writers that want to try something out. Now I know we've sold 200 tickets already. If you would like to present your writing to this audience, we can do it out on the street, in the pub, it'll be in Edinburgh. And if you're up there anyway, then again, get in touch. It'll probably only be about a 5-minute section slot, because due to the Edinburgh constraints, theoretically our show, the tour, is only going to last an hour. Yes, going down the pub, last an hour. Anyway, we'll try and work that out. So if you're going to be in Edinburgh for the festival, if you're an artist or an actor, or you know anyone that is, and you've got some new writing you'd like to try out, then do get in touch. And what we'll probably do actually is record it and then play them on this show after the festival is over. So again, Nick@bohemianbritain.com. Nick, N-I-C-K, at bohemianbritain.com or radio at mavericktheatre.co.uk. Radio at mavericktheatre.co.uk. That'll get you to me. Yeah, I like to put on a DJ voice every now and again and pretend. Yes, indeed. Playing the pedals, the metal, the steel, the platters. Yeah. Well, okay, I won't do that one. Also, the reason that we're talking about this is that it's been a fascinating period of time. I'm a member of the London Library, which is a library in Mayfair in London, surprisingly enough. And their racks, back racks, they've got now, I think, is it 22 miles of books? It's not the British Library. This is called the London Library. And you have to pay to join, which is, but worth it. You know what I mean? Well worth it. And it's a charity as well, of course. And it's interesting that they've got, I've not used them very much in terms of online research, but the books that are there, I mean, there's one or two things that I was thinking of. The guy that wrote, anyway, I can't remember, one or two famous writers. They've sort of made notes on the older books. So it's a real living kind of glorious thing if you like books, which I kind of do. But I'm always amazed at how easy if you see what I mean. The internet makes everything. I mean, that's an obvious thing to say, isn't it? When I was researching the London Literary Pub Crawl, I actually did go to the British Library and do some research, but most of it I did online. And what the point I'm trying to get to is I've been researching the Edinburgh Literary Pub Crawl and came across some fascinating things. Things that won't necessarily make the tour, but I thought I'd share them with you. This is an incredible track. It's basically a chap called it's recorded by a chap called Alan Lomax, and it's an album. It's off an album. It's an album track, Scottish Drinking and Pipe Songs, with Ewan McCall and Peggy Seeger. And this is basically just a bunch of women talking about the old days. And it's fascinating when you listen to the music that they sing, the folk song type element. I'll say nothing else. It's sort of self-explanatory, but it's a real slice of the past. It's called Dandling, D-A-N-D-L-I-N-G, Dandling Spanish and Walking Songs. Walking spelled W-A-U-L-K-I-N-G. Walking Songs by Anna Lomax, and it's kind of gloriously brilliant. See what you think.
I mind fact when you were born. Mother used to lull you to sleep. Papa Milano pick, Papa Milano pick, Papa Milano pick, a sickle of Nachatu. Papa Milano pick, Papa Milano pick, Papa Milano pick, a sickle of Nachatu. I used to sing for you then. Did you? There was no choice that time. Father used to give me a post on his galoon. You know what a galoon is? On his knee. And Father used to take me on his knee lap, and she was jealous. Father used to make her jealous, you know. She would be taking me on his knee. You to win a gula do, you to win a gra you do, you to win a gula do, pick you to find, Paramine, a good cabin, chill, Madakan, a paramine, you walk a minute, take a pan. You to win a gula do, you to win a gra you do, you to win a gula do, pick you to find, Paramine, you walk a minute, take a Madakan, a paramine, you walk a minute, take a pan.
Do the people still make their own clothes here?
No, dear,
Very
no.
little weaving done here just now.
Oh, they're too lazy now. All that is done away.
What's happened to replace all these old arts?
The mills
The mills.
and all these new things.
Do you think it's too
I
bad?
think it's no. I think it's a very good idea
It is,
because
huh?
it was too much for the women here. Oh yes, the guy, it was too hard.
But listen,
besides
Ian.
taking up a family, besides that,
They
mother.
lived longer than
Yes,
the
they did.
next generation.
Yes.
Yes.
They lived longer. Yes, mother was 92.
They never did that.
And she had a loom and all that, and a family to bring up, and 2 cows, and pigs at that carrying on the back of the hill. When you get it back, mind you, it wasn't an easy thing.
No.
They wouldn't do it today, though.
Guanyana, Uhodnoni Telenanyo Satuanyana, Ienis Niales Rapratse und Banes Tokta Hamaro Satuanyana, Uhodnoni Telenanyo Satuanyana, Kalm Sakusuas the people sat all as cheated.
You know, the three different kinds of walking all together.
No.
Clamor,
Yes.
Clockaram,
So.
the Harris Tweed.
Them myself and the Harris Tweed. What's that? Harris Tweed? Nothing like
You know what to do
what-
with him.
Oh, it wasn't Harris Tweed. A pity we hadn't a bit of it.
Yes. What my mother
What my
made.
mother used to
Yes,
make.
Clamor.
Three
Of
sets
the
of
women. Walking women.
before they would get it to the measure they wanted.
To the shrinking.
So it was really heavy cloth.
Oh,
It
it
was
was
very
very
difficult to do that.
especially the clamor, because there were so many different vegetable dyes in it.
I see.
And it was a very, very heavy tweed.
In smuggled pardon. Hatchet me, sir, hatchet me. You are ho, go. You are ho, you. You are ho, go. Hatchet me, sir, hatchet me. You hatchet me, to markevenge. You are ho, go. You are ho, you. You are ho, go. Hatchet me, to markevenge. Night is kom marken thuis. You are ho, go. You are ho, you. You are ho, go. Night is kom marken thuis. Hatchet me, sir, hatchet me. You are ho, go. You are ho, you. You are ho, go. But we mind our mother there. She had Stornoway girls.
Yes.
They were here at the fishing. And 6 of them was in there. And she sent over for the 6 of them, and they came over, and I mind that all right. And they were very nice with their white blouses and their sleeves turned
rolled
up,
up, yes.
and lovely
Aprons,
aprons, print aprons with their white tips. They were very nice. And their hair done up in a roll and coils to the back of the head. They were very nice. And I mind finer, and when Roderick came in, she began to do the song for Roderick.
Well, at these walkings, would they have plenty to eat and plenty to drink? And
Oh, no
Yes,
drink at all.
No drink.
No drink. There was no drink at all. Where was the money to get the drink, man?
Isn't that fascinating? A real blast from the past, a slice of the old Scotland and the weaving. I'm Nick Hennegan. This is Resonance 104.4 FM. We're also on bohemianbritain.com. This is Literary London, and I'm talking about Edinburgh. Now, if you're going to the Edinburgh Festival, as I am with the 30th, I've got to get the name right, the first 30th anniversary London Literary Pub Crawl. I'm in Edinburgh all August. Do come and say hello. I quite like the fact everyone has bought a ticket we're going out for a drink with. Woohoo! Party! And if you're up in Edinburgh, of course, one of the other great attractions is the Edinburgh Tattoo. The Edinburgh Festival, as you know, is lots of festivals. There's a book festival which is on as well, which I'm going to be talking later about. But I thought I'd play this for you because it always quite moves me, this. And in Edinburgh, every night, once the tattoo finishes, the fireworks go off, and occasionally there's a fighter plane, a jet plane will fly over. It's just kind of, I'm, not at all into the military stuff, but it's just a glorious celebration for a glorious city. And this is a bit maudlin, but quite emotional, and I quite like it. It's from, who's it from? I'll tell you who it's from. Scott Cawthon, Weavers of the Tartan. You see what I mean? It's quite good, isn't it? And emotional and warm and wistful at the same time. Last Post and Taps, Flowers of the Forest and Amazing Grace. That was. And that's almost all we've got time for. I hope you're feeling, we Scottish. I would say, I love Scotland. Edinburgh is a favourite city. I didn't go there until I was, blimey. I think actually Fringe was the very first time I'd been to Scotland. We used to go to Wales quite a lot. But then from Birmingham, Wales is Birmingham's coastline, as you're probably aware if you're a Midlander. But so that's more or less what we've got time for. But please do get in touch if you're going to be in Edinburgh, if you're a writer. We've got these 5-minute slots. We're going out at 3 o'clock every day, apart from the day after my birthday, which is the 15th of August. So get in touch at nick@bohemianbritain.com or radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. I'll see you next time. Thanks for your company. I am Nick Hennegan. This is Resonance 104.4 FM. Flipping marvellous.